Hi, what's going on guys? It's Almond. Welcome back to another Wizard101 video. So I kind of wanted to talk about the new gear that was added within Novus, and some people already kind of covered it within their streams or just them talking about it within their Discord. Just overall, it's been kind of like talked about within the community. And I kind of want to voice my opinion about what the whole situation is with the gear, because I think everyone's entitled to their own opinion, because some people are talking more about PvP stuff, some people are talking about PvE, so it's kind of like a mix between of how useful this gear is. And you can get this gear from two spots, which is kind of similar to Merciless. I didn't post any of the videos when it came to like all the Merciless stuff. I'm planning to make a video where it's like Novus prep guide before Novus actually like comes to live realm, so be on the lookout for that. But when it comes to Merciless had like 3 different sets technically. You had the stuff that was within the packs. If you open the packs, you would have got it. It's the same thing as Merciless, just the only difference was the item cards. So some people chose like Professor Boots because they wanted that blade, and some people, when it came to PvP, they were like, no, we're going to use the Merciless boots because they give us those auras. So it was like a mixed match between like players, you know. Then there was also the third set, which is the crafted set, is basically the same thing as Merciless. It's just different name, same exact stats, cards, everything like that. It's just called a different name, which kind of confused some people, because there's Demigre, which is the crafted one, Merciless, which is the dropped one, and then the Professor stuff, which is like according to like the Professor. So like if you had the fire Merciless boots, instead of it being fire Merciless boots or Demigre boots or something like that along the line, the Professor ones were called Dahlia's boots, or Dahlia shoes. So we had those different variations. When it comes to Novus, we just have this one set so far at the moment, and it's the same name. If you were to get it dropped, it's the same name as if you were crafting it. So if you were crafting, for example, the fire amulet, which obviously depends, it's called Primordial Aeon Charm, which you need the masterpiece, which is a tier 2, kind of how like Merciless had its tier 2, and you had to like, you know, you can upgrade it with all the pixels, polygonals, but its own separate thing, of course. So you had to get the old one charms, the old one artifacts, I mean, so stuff like that. Over here, it's pixels and polygonals. But when it comes to that, I actually have already gotten a drop. I don't know if anyone else has posted of them getting the drops already, but I've actually gotten one already. And we got this while questing, and I didn't notice it till the end of the stream, which was I had one of the parts already. So I have one of the 6 items that you can get, or actually one of the 7, I guess, if you want to consider it. So you get this from, I think it's a Design Duelist. I don't know where yet because I'm still trying to learn all the enemies. But from what I know is the drop rate is, or like how drops work in Novus, is similar to Lemuria, where they're kind of like spread out, and then obviously the end boss is going to have like hat row boots. So it'll probably be a person that drops a wand, person that drops Death Aim, Amulet, and Ring. So that in itself is 4 bosses, based upon my assumption, and I read something similar from one of the devs that's something along those lines. So which makes sense, because since I already have the amulet and I've gotten a drop from Design Duelist, because the way I know it's from Design Duelist is obviously if you have it equipped, someone can inspect you and see where you got it. So Design Duelist is one of those bosses that dropped it specifically for me. So when it comes to the gear, in my opinion, it's kind of just like a direct upgrade of Merciless. If we compare the boots, for example, for the fire ones, you're getting more HP, you're getting more block, more res, same pierce, a little bit more crit, you know, 6 or 7 more crit, you know, more damage, and same accuracy, and more shads. The only difference is the item cards. So if you're not going to be using the item card and you just care about all the other stats, I would probably upgrade to the Primordial Boots for fire. Obviously these are owned in its own right, but I think just overall all this gear is technically, actually not technically, it is better than Merciless. There's no reason of not to upgrade this, right? But we have to take that consideration. We don't know what the raid gear looks like as an upgrade. It's not in test realm yet, and what's happening with the raid gear is the raid gear is going to be directly upgraded. So raid gear currently, like the robe, which I currently have, if you guys look on the left side, I have the nullity robe, which we use for questing. It's only 150, but based upon what Raptured said in Sauce's chat, I believe, is that there will be a upgradable version of the Noli robe. So if you were the person who did raids a lot, you have all this gear and you're like, wow, I can't upgrade this, it's bad or whatever, you actually can. So there'll be some type of crafter or like vendor, something along those lines within the guild house, I assume, that you can interact with, and you obviously insert your robe and then whatever materials that requires with it. In my mind, it's probably something along the lines of some type of Azoth, so maybe like elemental, depending on like what school it is, and then probably some regular Azoth. That's just what my mind is thinking. Of course I don't know yet because it's not in Test Realm, but to me that makes the most sense, right? And overall I think this gear is just still, it's better than Merciless, but I still think a lot of people should hold off on their opinions of this gear till we see what the Nullity gear and the Void gear looks like upgraded. That's my opinion, because I feel like a lot of people are rushing it and saying, oh, this is the best gear, this is the best gear, this is the best gear. But we have to wait, because a lot of people use the combination of Merciless and Nullity or some type of Void gear and everything like that. So that you also have to take that in consideration. Another thing is this gear has pins, which kind of is a confusing topic to a lot of people, even to me. I gotten some pins while questing, which I can show you guys, and it's only a couple, right? There's certain pins you can't have like your own school pin. So like obviously if I'm rocking the Aeon robe or something like that, right, the better Merciless robe, right, I can't socket this in to get more accuracy because it's only for fire school. So pins are essentially for mainly just dual schooling, or from what it seems, right? Like obviously I can put on these myth pins to give me some myth pierce or crit or damage and crit, stuff like that, and it's obviously, you can see it's fire school only, and I can put on death as well. So it's all like specifically for that. I know some people talked about that you can actually socket on outgoing, on balance, I believe, storm, and I think there's one more school I can't think on top of my mind, but you can socket on outgoing jewels or outgoing pins on like your robe or something like that. I don't know if it's on your robe specifically, but I know you can put that on one of your pieces, and it's only accessible within these new gear sets. Obviously like the old professor gear, you're not going to be able to do that. So professor boots, sadly you're not going to be able to socket on pins, but I think that's mainly for dual schooling anyways. So to me, to all those people who farmed, or not farmed, opened a lot of packs for the gear, kind of got shafted. I mean, it's bound to happen. Power creep is always going to be a thing in Wiz. You can't stop it, right? So for that reasoning is, currently, till we find out what the raid gear looks like, most likely the Aeon stuff is going to be the new set that a lot of people use. The decks, on the other hand, they look nice aesthetically, right? You can see, but I don't think I'm going to be crafting this unless there's a new deck that we don't know about that's dropped somewhere that is better than Supreme, as you can see on the right side, because Supreme, in my opinion, is really good for PvE combat. If you're just going, like, if you're running it with two people, or like you're running with a group and you just want to have crit, you just want to have pip conserve, you know, health, I feel like that's just better. So that's why I use that, and it's a tier, and you know, you get a triangle socket. These give tier sockets, so it's very similar to Merciless decks. So me personally, I'm not going to be crafting these. If there were a triangle socket, maybe, you know, because they would be better than Demigra. Because if you look at Demigra, let's quickly equip that. Let me close this and reopen it. If we look at Demigra, yeah, same copy, same everything. It's just you lose a little bit of health, you gain block, you gain crit, and you also gain the new what's it called? My mind goes blank real quick. The Arch Mastery, so you can work with other pips. But to be honest, if we're just talking straight PvE combat, you're not going to be using that. So I'd rather have like a better Demigra or a better Supreme deck, hopefully somewhere within the world. And no one has really posted about that, and I haven't seen anybody get anything that's a better version of that. So currently, in my opinion, I'm just sticking with my Demigra, I'm sticking with my Supreme till further notice. So decks don't worry about. But the rings, of course, as you can see, if we're comparing it to straight Merciless, more health, same power pips. So if you don't really care about that and you're just like, oh, you know, just because I get a little bit more health, I'm not gonna craft it or whatever. It's just opinion based, right? But as you can see, it is more health, a little bit more crit and more damage. same sockets as well. And the amulet, of course, since I already have it, I guess it's different in that sort of sense. But to be honest, amulet, most people are just gonna be rocking Shane Von Shane amulet or Dragoon, because Dragoon gives you that AoE, especially on fire. I kind of like having that AoE, just a 4-pip pre-enchanted dragon. Like, that's just nice. So some people are going to be using that, and then there's also going to be some people who are going to be using Shane Von Shane or Amulet of Divine, of course, or OG Morg for the pierce and resist. So don't really worry about the amulets and don't worry about the decks. Thames, more health. As you can see, we're getting into the point where it's 1000 HP on stuff. More block, more pips, more damage. Same sockets as well, and then the wand too. So the wand that gives you more pierce, more damage, more crit, more block, just overall just better, right? The cards are kind of useless in my opinion. That's kind of why I like the Headmaster wand, because you get that mass trap. So there's certain stuff that I'm probably not going to be using, but if you just care about straight damage, pierce, that's your thing, of course, use this. But we still, like I said, we still have to wait for what the nullity piece is like. I don't think I have the wand on this character. It's in my shared bank, but we still got to see what the nullity wand looks like when it's a 160, if it's even comparable, right? And then same thing as the boots. If we're comparing Dahlia boots, which is basically Merciless boots, more damage, more crit, just overall, like I said, better. So I feel like it's going to be like 2-piece Aeon, maybe like a nullity robe in the mix, something along those lines. So I'm kind of just expecting to see stuff like that, and we'll mostly see people start posting videos about it soon. But I kind of want to give you guys my opinion on the gear real quick. And I think overall right now, as it's only like the second day of test realm, right? Second or third day. I think it is the second day. But currently right now, until we see what raid gear looks like, I think this is the best gear when it comes to certain pieces. It's better than Merciless, literally a direct upgrade. And once we find out what nullity pieces look like or void pieces look like, that will kind of change a lot of people's mind of what's going to be like the main set that everyone's going to be rocking for PvE. PvP, I don't want to enter in that space because it's going to be completely different, because we don't know how people are going to be playing, especially with this whole dual school mechanic, and that's going to be a completely different topic. So when it comes to PvE, like I said, I'm more into that. This looks like it's going to be really beneficial. And of course we have the damage cap change as well. So right now I'm rocking 212 damage, but you got to take in count I have a hyper elixir and a fire elixir because I was testing out damage. But yeah, the damage cap is kind of just like removed in a sense, and it's because it's like it's so hard to reach like the max damage currently for me, at least, because I don't have all the pieces. It's like 220 is the max, and that you can't go higher than 220 from what I've heard. But still, that's a lot of damage, and a lot of people are happy because they like seeing this mad crazy amount of damage. So kind of like how they changed that, and a lot of people are happy for that reasoning. But for PvP, it's a completely different scenario, like I said, because people are like, it's gonna be too fast, and people like slow combat. So just two different sides of the table, and they're just gonna like clash a lot. So overall, that is my thoughts on the gear. Hope you guys enjoyed. More Novus videos coming out probably whenever the raid gear drops. I'll look at that whenever we do the final boss, whenever that's not spoiler kept, we'll do that. A lot of videos, like I said, a lot of videos to make. There's also a video where I'm gonna talk about the gold key changes, because no one really has posted a video regarding that, so be on the lookout for that. And hope you guys just been enjoying all the videos. So leave a like, subscribe, all that type of stuff, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.